Alright, we're gonna sit back here on office style. We're gonna talk about polarity, because I realized my ego gets really frustrated trying to explain it, and people think it's taken from more of a psychological perspective, and it's just not working out. When I'm trying to communicate with people from a perspective of polarity. So instead of just sitting here and being all like huffy puffy about people not understanding what I'm talking about, we're gonna try and explain it, because it's just I have to re-perspective myself in relation to others, because I've been training myself into this like frame for a few years now. So I can't expect other people to be where, be thinking in the way that I am when I've specifically programmed it. So here we go. We're going to try and break this down. So polarity. So when you look at law of one, it's explaining how like the duality to singularity, and it's kind of parallel to, there is no right and wrong. Like, so negative and positive do not equate to right and wrong or good and bad. Like, that is how ego is trying to identify, keyword. So ego tries to identify, but because we're a conscious being, we can notice that we're doing that, right? And that's the awareness. We're not actually doing anything. We're becoming aware of what was already being done. And so when we observe that we've been in this negative polarity program, like, we still have to exist in some type of program because we have a body. So we have to be able to tell it where to go, what's coming next to some extent. We have to know. To know that, we have to have clarity. So we're put into situations, we're like kind of pre-programmed with this big like staticky mess of positive and negative, and that's also what is literally polarizing our connections with others. So if you can imagine, like, every little paired association you have has a positive or negative dominant, but it has two ends of the stick. That's the duality, but it's the same experience. It's waiting for you to pick a side. This is where we see with like borderline, a lot of black and white thinking stems, like in the borderline personality and bipolar and some of those mental imbalances. It's still an imbalance, which goes back to energy. It's an energy imbalance, which means it's a polarity imbalance. It's a conductivity imbalance. Like, there is something just like not flowing right, because it hits this little patch. So you have an electrical magnetic field. You have electricity flowing up and down. It comes up to the brain. It gets its information. It travels. It's flipping inside and outside the quantum field. We're literally like projecting. We disappear into space and we come back. And we bring information back with us. What information we bring back with us is determined by the electricity of our thought and the magnetism of our body. So when we translate this into New Age and like metaphysics and those more esoteric practices, this is the Merkaba. Okay, it's the same thing as the dielectric magnetic field. It's the Merkaba. So what we perceive as positive and negative don't even actually exist. It's how we have attempted to frame the interaction of what seems to be repelled, but we're all just a light vortex. There is no real repel. So what you're perceiving as being repelled is because you're in a dual universe. Like, that's not how it's actually functioning. That's how it's functioning within this dual universe. So when I talk about polarity, obviously the normal person has not done all that deduction. Some people have, okay? And those people, it resonates and we flow really easily. And I want to get to a point where maybe I start to re-understand like where the baseline for normal people, because when I began draining my my polarity baseline, so how do you even know what it is? Like, if you're in this big jumbled static mess, and the answer is you don't, until you choose. You can hear my pigeon flapping. I think I have a pigeon. And you don't know. And literally until you do that, I just released this to me. I scratched my nose, so we'll go into that in another video. And that's, interesting. Sorry. You don't really know yourself until you've taken the time to memorize that baseline frequency that is you with your ego. That is like basically like step number one. Like, you cannot even like know what's up from down or negative to positive hardly unless it's super, super intense. Like, we all know that like whoosh, oh, creator, like that's you feeling. We all know that one, but what about the little ones we navigate day to day? Right, crickets. I'm not programming those in, but it'd be cool. Keep touching my face, I'm a little nervous. Yeah. So we have to go into, just trying to think in a straight line here and figure out the best way to like keep breaking this down, because it was an extended process. I called it a few different things, like scientific method, you know, for the soul, like self-telepathy. It's all the same kind of concept, and I'll break that apart in other stuff too. But like you yourself are like a bliss polarity. Like our natural state of being is bliss. Like that is the core essence, is love, bliss, creation. Like that is what is. So below that we come into the chemical experience of a dual universe, and just the human experience of having a chemical body to deal with. So when you're looking at chemicals and chemistry, it is very much driven by polarity. So we can kind of like, if you can just like convince yourself back out of that a little bit, back out of the chemistry part, it is relevant, yes. But because of our expectations and observation into those sciences, it is going to be skewed as we revisit it through this new quantum lens. So back out of that, you are just light and polarity in this universe. That's it. Period, 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 period. Masculine, feminine, positive, negative, however you want to see it, but it's all the same thing. It's a perspective thing. And how it feels. Thoughts and feelings. Masculine and feminine. Electromagnetic. Okay? The point in between is where it materializes. It actualizes. Okay? So how we drive this conductivity, it comes in, so kind of like a camera, everything comes in a little backwards. You know, it's recorded as a negative. More crickets. Even film makes it a negative, and you have to go through the process of developing it to make it a positive. Okay, that's basically fucking alchemy. Okay, you're just blank light. You record something and it seems negative. You put it through the process and oh, the picture's clear. Okay, we're doing the same fucking thing. I don't mean to seem frustrated. I'm too new of a YouTuber to be frustrated, but like I just feel like I loop with people on polarity, and it's a feeling thing. So you have to trust that you know what positive polarity is. That's how you trust yourself. And that's where this contrast comes in. Why didn't that feel good? Is that my old danger signals are right now. You gotta do all this math, man, but it's vibrational. So like it's a little like vibrational equation. Me in relation to this equals this. So it's usually feelings. So like theme feelings. Think about how you're talking about other people. You'll see theme words come up, and every time you talk about a situation, and then yourself, listen to your like little like jabber in there. Listen how you're talking to yourself about the situation. You're gonna notice patterns that cross about how you talk about like everything. And then you're like, oh fuck, maybe the problem is me. So that is all like, that's all polarity based, and you're gonna attract people. And I mean, it's minute, so it's not like, yeah, positive and negative like attract, and positive repel, but it's gonna be, you're gonna attract someone who your traumas are compatible with, so that you can actually clear it out. Because if you have incompatible traumas, like it's gonna do more damage. And you're gonna keep reconfirming like your self-fulfilling prophecy. So like what happens like when you become more positively polarized, that outweighs the trauma bonding, and now you have like actual future things that you have bonded with this person about. Positive polarized. Okay, it's the human magnet syndrome, look that one up. Like your people picker's broken until you flip your polarity. But what, and it's kind of like if you're in fight or flight, you're in a negatively polarized lack mentality. So we're gonna link this up to other pieces of the puzzle, how the same words, we're all talking about the same thing. So like when your nervous system is dysregulated, which is normal when we've had a traumatic childhood, we never actually learned what stable felt like. We never actually learned what like positive felt like, and we thought we did. Okay, that's manipulation, dude. Like it takes a minute because you have dissonance in these polarities. That's literally what it is. It's like being in an F sharp and an F natural at once. You got to pick one, or you get this really awful result. Like, so it is, you do have to pick. And if we're driving unconsciously, that polarity algorithm was set by our parents, okay? So if your parents made you feel shitty and then made you feel good, and then like you perceive something they did to you, like, oh, boo-hoo, they took my toy, I cried again. And that pattern is what is driving you, but it changes how it looks as you become an adult. So, but you still have to learn to recognize it, because you eventually want all those polarities to be positive. That's how you set your path. Like, there's nothing external that can put you on path. Literally nothing I can say can make you understand this. Nothing. Nothing. Maybe a Reiki session could give you an example, but like no one can do this work for you. You can listen to things that may like help you recognize it or stimulate a resonance, which is that positive polarity. You can feel things that feel gross, but if you don't know what to do with it, then you're still in that pattern. You know, you're still being driven by unconscious polarity because it's trying to neutralize and balance. You're seeking homeostasis with everyone around you because humans are not built to be alone. I didn't want to be alone this much, but like I figured all this shit out because I didn't know what to do. So like now I'm trying to homeostase with everybody. And how I think is, you know, is creating a dissonance because I don't know how to talk to people no more. So I'm trying to like, or hey, like, are you guys on F natural or F sharp? Maybe I should like, how do I come there? Or like, meet me in the middle. Is there a middle? Or is it just F? Fuck. Anyway, hopefully this like helped someone. I got told I rant the other day. And like, yeah boy, I make my job ranting at a fucking camera into people. People pay me to do it. Yeah, I rant. But if there's value in it, then maybe it's only a rant to you because you didn't see it. I don't know. But it's been an interesting ride, and polarity-based living and polarity-based immunity, and like we'll go into that separately because this is already, I'm gonna run out of space soon. But yeah, when you actually can maintain that state of being and drive the thoughts properly, that is what they mean when they say God will protect you from the virus. Just going to church and like praying isn't gonna do it. Okay, like, so manifesting is prayer in the highest degree, but you have to apply it properly. It's an art form because we're artists. We are vibrational artists. We're here molding our reality with our thoughts and our feelings. And so if you don't fucking like your experience, whether you like it or not, it's your fault. You didn't ask for what was done to you, but it put polarity bullshit in you. And your ego doesn't fucking want to forgive everybody else and would rather stay in this itty bitty little box of I can't and I'm scared. And that's fucking polarity. So if you want to believe that, that's fine. Go that route. That's your choice. But that's not going to take you to any good fucking feelings. That's going to make more of that bullshit because you're creating your reality. Okay? The only way out is through. Okay, so when you actually sit with these and you love it, you're taking that negative polarity and you're filling it up, filling it up, filling it up, baby. That's how you fill your cup. Like, you're pushing positive polarity all the way down in that sucker. Okay, it can just look like white light. Visualize that shit. Do some shamanic stuff. You know, use your visuals. I play like Mario in my head. I think I actually talked about that. And I just do all kinds of light and color. Like, I feel something negative, I just throw some fucking light in there. Boom. That's because I assigned that means positive. It's done. It's done. Like, you really are that powerful. Like, powerful. I'm so sorry. I have a fucking, like, when I get tired, I sound like Sean Connery. So I have a small, yeah. But, like, you are that powerful. Just decide. It's that clarity you need, and that is based on polarity. We don't always like what's giving us bad, like, we don't like what makes us wobble. Ego is uncomfortable with that. But if our identity is the wobble, then ego's more comfortable with that than this or this. Like, but it's the indecision that's keeping you. The indecision is caused by not knowing what's true. Not knowing what's true is caused by false parent associations from your parents. Not being able to get over that is caused by anger at your parents and victimizing yourself. And victimizing yourself is caused by the patriarchal society we live in that wants to keep us fucking tame. Because it's way easier to control a society of fucking victims, isn't it? Than someone who realizes that we're creating this shit. Would you look at that? And it's a lot to chew on. I'm Kyler Quinn. See you at my next rant.